It's 11:40 on a Saturday night. Your system works. Nothing is broken, nothing needs fixing. You haven't opened a config file in 3 weeks. And you're on DistroWatch. You're not looking for a distro, you're looking for a feeling. And no distro has ever contained it. You didn't decide to be here either. You opened a tab and your fingers typed it before your brain filed the request. Now you're reading release notes for a distribution maintained by 4 people in a country you'd have to look up, telling yourself you're just curious. You'll flash that ISO within the hour. You know it. You're going to do it anyway. So this isn't a video about which distro is best. You've seen 100 of those, and honestly, they're part of the problem. This is about the loop. Why someone with a perfectly working computer keeps detonating it. I'm going to show you the 6 stages of a hop, the 4 things sitting in your house that made it worse, and the one question that actually ends the cycle. Some of this is going to be uncomfortable. That's sort of the point. Part 1. The anatomy of a hop. Every hop runs the same 6 stages. Not roughly, exactly. You've done this enough times you could run it with the monitor off. Stage 1. The honeymoon. Fresh install, first boot, and the system feels fast, genuinely, noticeably faster than the last one. It isn't. There's nothing on it yet. You're comparing a warehouse to your apartment and concluding the warehouse has better airflow. Doesn't matter. You're euphoric. You say it out loud to nobody. Okay, this is the one. I'm done. You take a fast fetch screenshot within 20 minutes. And the fact that you know it's fast fetch now and not neo-fetch is, by itself, a symptom. Stage 2. The nesting. This is the good part. Genuinely, and I'm not being sarcastic. You're pulling your dot files, picking a theme, adjusting terminal padding by 2 pixels, agonizing over a font for 90 minutes that you will never consciously look at again. There's a to-do list, and every item you cross off makes the machine feel more like yours. This is craft. This is what you actually came for. Stage 3, the plateau. And then you finish. Everything works. Nothing needs your attention, which was the goal. So why does it feel like the floor dropped out? Here's the thing nobody puts in the tutorials. A distro hopper isn't running from a broken system. They're running from a finished one. The reward for completing your setup is that there's nothing left to set up. Your hobby just handed you the bill. So you start noticing things. Font rendering that's slightly off, a file manager with no split pane view, a package manager that resolves dependencies a hair slower than the last one. All of that existed on day 1. You didn't care on day 1. You care now because you need something to care about. Stage 4, the itch. The trigger fires. It's always one of 5 things. A video about a distro you'd never heard of. A screenshot of somebody's hyperlink setup that makes your desktop look like a filing cabinet. A changelog full of the words reworked and overhauled. One bug you've decided is a philosophical failing rather than a bug. Or, most often, nothing at all. Just a Saturday and a free evening. You open DistroWatch just to look. You have never once just looked. Stage 5. The rationalization. This is where the lying starts. And it's always the same 4 lies. I'm not distro hopping, I'm evaluating. You are hopping. I'll test it in a VM first. You will not. And we'll come back to that one, because it deserves an autopsy. I'll keep my /home partition so it's basically seamless. Oh, buddy. And the load-bearing lie underneath all of it? My current setup has that one annoying thing. This one probably doesn't. Stage 6. The nuke. USB in, F12. And the distro you swore eternal loyalty to 3 weeks ago is gone without a goodbye. Back to stage 1. Total cycle time? 2 weeks to 3 months, depending on how much of a personal life you've managed to retain. Part 2. Why your brain does this. That's the behavior. Here's the machinery. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because none of it is unique to Linux. You just happen to run yours on a Linux. The dopamine hits at the download, not the desktop. Dopamine has a PR problem. Everyone calls it the pleasure chemical. It isn't. It's closer to a pursuit chemical. It doesn't reward you for having things, it rewards you for approaching them. It spikes on anticipation and goes quiet on arrival, which means the peak of your entire distro experience is not booting into a working desktop. It's the download bar. It's the 4 seconds while DD writes to the USB and you feel, briefly, like a man with a plan. Everything after first boot is a slow fade. You're not using an operating system. You're managing a come-down. And this is why it's so hard to stop. It's shopping with the price tag removed. Full ritual. Research, comparison, decision, unboxing. 0 credit card statement. Store open 24 hours. Delivery in 11 minutes. There is no financial friction anywhere in the loop. The only cost is time. And at 11 p.m. on a Saturday, time feels free. The 72-hour rule. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. You have a baseline level of satisfaction, and life keeps trying to move you off it, and you keep sliding back. You get a raise, you're thrilled for a month. Then it's just your salary. For distros, the half-life is about 3 days. Every distro is perfect for 72 hours. By day 7, you've found 3 things that annoy you. By day 14, you're reading release notes at 2 a.m. The treadmill never stops, and it never speeds up. It just changes wallpaper. 2 kinds of people. There are hundreds of actively maintained Linux distributions. We call that freedom. The psychologist Barry Schwartz would call it something closer to an assault, because past a small handful of options, more choice doesn't make people happier. It makes them slower to decide and less satisfied with what they pick. But his more useful finding is that it doesn't hit everyone equally. It splits people in 2. Satisficers have criteria. Does it boot? Does Firefox work? Does my code compile? Done. Decision closed, mental tab closed, moving on. Maximizers need the best one. And here's the killer part. Even after choosing, they keep monitoring the alternatives. The decision never actually closes. Satisficers install Mint and never think about their operating system again. They are structurally immune to this entire video. Maximizers hop forever. And it gets worse with experience, not better. Because every distro you try adds another reference point, another thing your current system is now measurably slightly worse at. You're not building knowledge, you're building a list of grievances.
The turn. They're all the same distro. So let me deflate the whole thing, because you've earned it. Same kernel, same GNU core utils, same Mesa drivers, same Pipewire, same GNOME or KDE that upstream shipped to everybody on the same day, same Firefox. What actually differs between distributions is a short list: which package manager wraps the software, how fast updates arrive, what's configured out of the box, and what the project believes about proprietary code. That's it. That's the whole thing. Everything else is branding and a wallpaper, which gives you the first law of distro hopping. The distro you're on has one specific problem that makes you want to scream. The distro you're about to install also has one specific problem that will make you want to scream. It's a different problem. You haven't solved anything. You've traded a bug you understand for a bug you'll have to learn. The grass isn't greener over there. It's the same grass, different sprinkler schedule. And once that lands, the question stops being which distro is right and becomes something much more useful. Why do I keep needing a new one?
Part 3. You didn't get worse, you got better. Here's the part that stings. Every long-term hopper has quietly spent years removing every obstacle that would normally have stopped them. The sacred USB drive. You've had it for years. The label wore off. It's been flashed more times than you've changed jobs. It's probably a SanDisk with a broken cap. And it has done more work than most sysadmins. Ventoy. Genuinely brilliant software that has ruined more Saturdays than alcohol. You used to have to reflash a drive for every ISO, a 5-minute tax, and 5 minutes is enough time for an impulse to die. Now you drag ISOs onto a stick like a playlist. 12 distros on one drive isn't a tool, it's a loaded weapon in a bedside drawer. the separate/home partition. The theory? Your files survive the reinstall. The reality? Your .config directory becomes a mass grave. .files from a distro you abandoned 2 years ago haunting a fresh install. GTK themes that don't exist anymore. A shell config referencing a package manager you no longer have. You spend the afternoon debugging ghosts. And I'll just try it in a VM. This has never worked. Not once for anyone. The VM runs sluggish because it's a VM, and your brain draws exactly the wrong conclusion. Imagine how good this feels on bare metal. So the VM didn't prevent the install. It marketed it to you. Now put it together. Most user loyalty to any platform isn't loyalty at all. It's friction. People stay because leaving is annoying. You removed the annoying. .files in a Git repo, a Ventoy stick that's always loaded. Installation muscle memory so refined you don't read the prompts anymore. I can go from ISO to a fully configured desktop in 45 minutes. That's not a flex. That's a tolerance level. Part 4. Which one are you? There isn't one type of hopper. There are about 4, and you're probably 2 of them. Quick exemption first. If you hop out of genuine curiosity, one from each family, taking notes, learning what Nix actually does, that's the healthy version, and you'll stop on your own once you've finished the map. This section isn't about you. The perfectionist believes the perfect distro exists, and it's simply the next one. We'll reinstall an entire operating system over sub-pixel font rendering. We'll never settle, because the flaws they're fleeing aren't distro flaws. They're the flaws of computers. Every OS on Earth is a pile of compromises wearing a wallpaper. The eternal tinkerer doesn't care about the destination. The install is the hobby. Loves the conquest, hates the occupation. The person who enjoys buying houses and cannot stand living in them. Honestly, this one's fine. They're having a great time. They just describe it as a search for a daily driver, which is a bit like describing a fishing trip as a grocery run. The escapist. Look at your hop history. Now look at your deadlines. If those 2 lines correlate, you already know. Reinstalling an OS feels productive. It's technical. It has milestones. Your terminal is scrolling. You are visibly doing something difficult. It scratches the exact itch real work scratches at about 5% of the emotional cost. You'll finish at 3 a.m. feeling accomplished and having moved nothing forward. The operating system was never the bottleneck. The task list was. The novelty brain. For a lot of people, distro hopping is one thread in a much bigger pattern. The same one that shows up with note-taking apps, programming languages, instruments, keyboards. Intense hyperfocus during setup, when everything is new and has clear milestones. Then daily use starts, the novelty drains out, and the interest goes with it. If that's you, I'm not diagnosing anybody, and this isn't a character flaw. But the reframe that seems to help most is this. The distro isn't special. It's just the current object, which means a better distro was never going to fix it, and you can stop looking for one. That's not a loss. That's a few hundred hours back. Part 5. What actually ends it? People do stop. Almost none of it involves finding the right distro. First, the cheapest fix available. Think about the last time you switched, and be honest about what actually bothered you. Was it the package manager? The init system? The release model? Or was it the desktop? Because a huge share of hops are desktop environment hops wearing a trench coat. You didn't want to leave Fedora, you wanted to leave GNOME. But installing a second DE creates duplicate menu entries and fighting config files. So instead of fixing a desktop, you nuke an operating system. Next time the itch hits, ask, would a different desktop fix this? If yes, that's a 300 megabyte download, not a weekend. Sunk cost. Nature's most effective anti-hopping medication. Spend 40 hours on a NixOS config or a Gentoo build with hand-tuned use flags, and the thought of doing it again produces physical discomfort. Complex distros don't end hopping because they're perfect. They end it because they're a hostage situation you agreed to. The .files epiphany. This is the real one. The thing you've been chasing across 14 installations was never the distro. It was your configuration, your shell, your editor, your keybinds, your theme. That's what makes a machine feel like yours, and it's completely portable. Put it in a Git repo, and you can rebuild your entire environment on any distro on Earth in half an hour. The end game was never a distro. The end game is a repo. And harm reduction, not abstinence. One sacred machine, one disposable one. A spare laptop, a second drive, a partition you're allowed to destroy. Your curiosity is legitimate. It just shouldn't have root access to the computer your income depends on.
Here's my honest opinion after watching this in the community and, for the record, in myself. The new install isn't a computer. It's a fresh start you can download. That's what's actually being bought. An empty desktop with no clutter, no half-finished projects in the home directory, no shell history full of commands from the version of you that was going to learn Rust in March. A clean machine feels like a clean slate, and a clean slate feels like a person who has it together. Which is why the moment before installing is so intoxicating, and the moment 3 weeks later is so flat. You didn't get a new computer. You got the same computer with the same person sitting at it, and the same unfinished project in the same folder. So I'm not going to tell you to stop. Distro hopping is a great hobby. It's cheap, it's harmless, it teaches you an enormous amount about how computers actually work, and it's a better use of a Saturday night than most alternatives. Just stop calling it research. Stop expecting it to make you productive. Those are two completely different Saturdays, and only one of them ends with something finished. So here's the one question I promised you. Next time the itch hits, before DistroWatch, before you reach for the drive, write down the problem you're solving. One sentence, specific. If you can name it, go. Install the thing. You've got a real reason, and you'll learn something. If you can't, if the sentence comes out as, I don't know, I just want something new, then congratulations, you've diagnosed yourself correctly. You're not blocked, you're bored. And the cure for boredom has never once been an ISO file. Because at 11:40 on a Saturday night, you're not downloading an operating system, you're downloading a Saturday. Spend it on purpose.